time now for everyone's favorite segment of the week. It is time.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived to hear from the man himself.
How are we doing without
Ariel
the glasses?
You know what? That's a great
Live
question. Did you
from the
notice
Box
that I was
Studios in
squinting
beautiful
there?
New York City.
Just a little.
It's
Yeah, now
on the
I have the
nose.
glasses right
And
here.
now,
I've
to answer
enjoyed
your
not wearing
questions,
them
get out of your
because
seats and
of the
on
lack
your
of
feet
headaches,
because
but
here he is,
and I'm probably gonna get some, eye doctor reaching out to me now. But and that's fair game. But now I have to read said questions and
Right.
I need them. So I'm gonna put them on like this.
Like at the bridge of your nose.
Yes. Okay, what do we have here? I did wanna offer a couple of news updates since we last spoke. And what do you think? Now that I'm putting them on, does it just feel more complete? What do you?
I feel like we're finally back.
Yeah. All right. In any event, last night reported that the highly anticipated boxing match between Nathan Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, which was originally scheduled for June 1st in Inglewood, up to no good, California, at the Kia Forum, is now being moved to July 6th in Anaheim at the Honda Center. Multiple reasons for the move, for the switch. Main one being June 1st was going head-to-head with UFC 302, Dustin Poirier, Islam Makhachev, Brick City, Sean Strickland, Paulo Costa. I mean, it just wasn't very smart business to go head-to-head. So they've moved dates. They've moved venues as well. Still unclear as to why the venues were changed, but it all is in fact true. It's going from June 1st to July 6th. This was first reported by Lance Pugmire of BoxingScene.com. Item number 2. On Monday's show, Dustin Poirier came on and talked to us about his good friend and teammate Sabah Homasi and his situation where he was a Bellator fighter and he got injured. He needed a surgery. He paid for the surgery, but with the thinking that he would be reimbursed. That's how it works. Well, Bellator, as you know, was owned by Viacom. It was then sold off to PFL, and some of these things have fallen through the cracks. Well, I told Dustin I would look into it. I did, in fact, look into it. And I spoke to Mike Kogan, who was a senior official at Bellator, now a senior official at PFL, and obviously also works on the new Bellator brand. And he told me that he was well aware of the situation, completely understands the frustration of Sabah Homasi and others. He told me there's around 10 or so fighters that have fallen through the cracks like this. And he told me that what happened was essentially PFL legal team has had to put a lot of pressure on Viacom to reinstate their insurance policy through December of 2023. They ended it early. Massive company, corporate company, they ended it early. And as a result, these claims that fell in that time period between when it was ended and between when PFL, took over Bellator, fell through the cracks and no one was picking them up. And so PFL Legal has put a lot of pressure on them to reinstate the policy. That has happened. And there's actually a call next week to move this along, but they're in touch with all the fighters that are in this situation, and they're confident that it's all going to get resolved and that everyone will be reimbursed. But these things happen when companies are bought and are taken over, and I could tell that he felt really bad. I mean, that was his former company, and no one wants to have this kind of bad press. It does make it a little bit awkward that Sabah wasn't brought over to PFL, so even more reason as to why he may have fallen through the cracks, but they were aware, they are working on it, and they are confident that everyone will be reimbursed. So there's an update regarding that situation. And obviously, if you are a fighter, employed or not, those surgeries aren't cheap. You want to get reimbursed. I completely understand that. One other update for you before we get to the questions. I said on Monday's show that Gable Steveson, the Olympic gold medalist from the 2020 games and the heavyweight national champion from the University of Minnesota, would be in studio. a conflict came up, and obviously he is not in studio today. He will be on the program in the near future. I look forward to that conversation because, as you may have heard over the weekend, he was released somewhat shockingly by WWE. They had very, very high hopes for him. They had made a big deal of his signing. They had signed him to an NIL deal. They put him in NXT. This was shocking, at least to me, and I had heard no reports or rumors that he was not in great standing with them. He has not said anything. He has not commented on the release, but I did get this comment from his agent, Dave Martin. And this is the comment. Gable Steveson is very grateful for the opportunities he had with WWE and would like to thank everybody in the organization who helped him get there. He would also like to thank all the fans who have supported him on his professional wrestling journey. Now, Gable is ready to resume competing against elite level competition and looks forward to sharing big news with you all very soon. So what is interesting about that is that he does have 1 year left as far as his collegiate wrestling eligibility is concerned. This is a guy who can command a lot of money from powerhouses outside of Minnesota as well. I'm very curious to see if he goes back and tries to get, one more national championship. Unfortunately, the timing of the release came at a horrible time for him because the Olympic trials were just a few weeks ago, and they came and went, and he didn't try out, and he probably could have sleepwalked his way onto the Team USA squad that would be representing the country in Paris this summer. He missed out on that, and that's probably a bummer for him. In addition to this information, I can tell you via Dave that multiple NFL teams have reached out to Gable Steveson. Once again, multiple NFL, National Football League teams have reached out to Gable Steveson. He does have that extra year of eligibility, and he's also been training at Killcliff FC with Henry Hooft and Robbie Lawler. As Dave put it, there's no shortage of opportunities to compete. You'll recall his friend and fellow Golden Gopher Brock Lesnar had a mini camp tryout with the Minnesota Vikings back in the day. So this is very interesting. I'm aware of 2 teams that are interested in inviting him to mini camp. We'll see how that story unfolds, and we'll see how the story of his eligibility unfolds, and we'll see how the story of his interest in mixed martial arts unfolds. I always thought that he would be best suited for MMA once done with the collegiate wrestling. And I always thought that he would be a badass and a generational talent in MMA and then could consider wrestling. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. He transitions to MMA, there's great success there, and wrestling comes calling again. I don't view this as him falling on his face or him being a failure. It's not like he went from wrestling to MMA and fizzled out. For whatever reason, and I don't know the reasons just yet, what happened between him and WWE, but it was an opportunity he couldn't pass up for a lot of money while still in college, is a part of the ecosystem, part ways, and now he's got collegiate eligibility, NFL teams apparently, and a potential MMA future that he's staring at. So interesting times for Gable Steveson. We'll see how the story unfolds. All right, so those are the 3 items that I wanted to address off the jump. Now let us get to some of our questions. What do you say? What do you say? All right, here we go. JD Miami, I hope you're wearing your glasses while reading, Ariel. Thank you very much. I am. As a fan of the sport, I like to support the fighters and feel guilty. By the way, I didn't have a chance to read the question, so I'm just going in blind. So I hope that they are
No
good.
pun intended.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well done. I feel guilty when I have to use alternative methods to watch pay-per-view events. While I buy some, it's a big ask to spend over $100 a month to be a fan. I get it. Do you think with Netflix/live streaming model and MMA gaining viewers, there exists a future where there will be more free-to-watch events, specifically the UFC, as I realize boxing is different? If not, I'd like to hear from you. What makes it so different from the NFL or Premier League, etc.? I was talking about this with someone about whether WWE would ever go back to this model. And WWE, in my opinion, falls under the Premier League, NFL, NBA examples that JD is giving for this reason. I don't think the WWE PLE's pay-per-views will ever go back to the pay-per-view model because it's the same men and women each and every month. And so I don't think that there is a place to ask for, $50, $60, $70, even a little bit less from the audience because you're seeing those people every month on pay-per-view, plus Mondays, plus Fridays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What makes the UFC model so special and what makes them, along with the major boxing events, the only ones who are able to use the pay-per-view model anymore, and it's the same reason why the NBA can't do it, NFL, et cetera, is because you're only getting these guys once, twice, 3 times max a year. You're getting Conor McGregor every 3 years. You're getting Sean O'Malley twice a year. You're getting Islam Makhachev twice a year. You're getting Israel Adesanya twice a year. So you could pay and offer a premium for those appearances. They're not fighting every week. They're not fighting every month. And that's special. And people are going to buy that clearly because the numbers are great. The buys are great. And it's a very, very, very premium product. People will pay for that. You can't give that away for free. Fight nights are one thing. Those are lesser events with up-and-coming talent. But the fact that they are only, it's kind of a supply and demand thing. There's only a finite amount of appearances from these guys, so you can charge for that. Can't charge for that when it's the same wrestlers appearing Monday, Friday, and Saturdays. So I think that model is a little bit archaic when it comes to wrestling, but it is not when it comes to MMA, and it's still holding strong when it comes to boxing. There are still people who are going to buy Haney Garcia, Canelo, Usyk Fury, Tank Garcia, Joshua Fury if it happens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I hope that makes sense. It's just because they're not as active, you don't get as many of them.
Could I add something to that?
Oh, hey, what's going on?
By the way,
yes.
Different streaming platforms, different broadcasters, different platforms, let's just call it, to use an umbrella term, have different goals. So it's not out of the question in a future world that a platform whose ambition might be on subscriber growth eats the cost of what was previously pay-per-view, pays for those events and hosts them and adds them as part of your subscription. It is not out of the question that could happen. It just will depend on what the platform's goals are. If the platform's goals is the highest monetization, then the pay-per-view model seems to still function that way properly for MMA. It seems like less and less sports and events are doing it, but it still seems to function in MMA and for high-level boxing as well. So if their goals are that, then it might remain, but it will depend on where UFC is and what the platform that it lands on's goals will continue to be, because that's going to determine ultimately how much we end up paying as fans and subscribers.
It is a fascinating time. You're 100% right, because the ESPN deal is up at the end of next year. The WWE Peacock deal is also up in about a year and a half. And so, TKO kind of holds all the cards when it comes to this. You saw a few years ago, DAZN announced that pay-per-view was dead, and now they do pay-per-view. So it will never truly. By the way, where are you right now? You're not in your same spot.
We have Holly's father and stepmother here today, staying in my office. We have a guest room / office, so I'm downstairs.
Displaced.
You got the boot.
But
by the way, I don't hate this. I don't hate this just kind of clean white background.
I kind of like the other one. The other one feels like you're somewhere. Maybe there's a little sunlight. There's a fan moving in the background. I know it's blurred. This feels like you're.
I dig it. It's clean.
My kitchen is right there. My dining room is right there.
So
it's not ideal.
Okay,
there's a little too much foot traffic. I'm in the middle of everything.
Now, what time do your kids come home?
Avery will be home 3:35, something like that. Cece's out with the grandparents right now, having a grand old time. Logan's upstairs in bed with Holly. Like we're cruising right now.
All right.
It's very quiet in here without the kids around. DAZN is a great example of what I was kind of saying. I think they might have been a little bit too early to the game, but they decided we're going to eat the cost. We're going to upend the pay-per-view model and offer it as a subscription, hopefully be able to acquire enough subscribers. ultimately that didn't work, and now they're back to pay-per-view. But I don't think that it's impossible for something like that to be tried again, depending on who the partner is, if they have the capital to be able to do it.
Yeah, maybe someone comes in and says for X amount you could get this whole lot like as a subscription. Yeah, everything's going to change.
Yep.
It's changed a lot in the last 3 years. It will change a lot in the next 3 years. We move along. Trevor, I love your question, but it's just so damn long. It's a 5-paragraph question about the UFC not coming to your neck of the woods. I will read it anyway because you were one of the first. Lord Ariel and crew, I was born and raised in southeastern Kentucky. The UFC has not come close to where I live in many years. I attempted to attend UFC Columbus a couple of years ago, but unfortunately my car broke down in Cincinnati on the way there and I was unable to attend. So when UFC Louisville, he says it's pronounced Louisville. Is it pronounced Louisville? Come on, Is it Louis?
Who, me?
What do you say? What do you say, Frank? Louisville or Louisville?
I've always said Louisville, but
yeah,
I've said Louisville too. This feels like someone calling Missouri, Missouri.
Yeah. I mean, the length of the question and now this forced upon us pronunciation is kind of annoying me. Anyway, it was announced for June 8th. I was ecstatic because it's only a 2.5-hour drive from my house. Perfect. The issue is I'll be on vacation out of the state that week with my family and girlfriend. This is my first vacation with my girlfriend. I want her to have a great time, but I also refuse to miss my first UFC live event. I've never been to an event, and I've been a fan since 2009. By the way, the UFC has actually been to Louisville. I was there in 2011. Why weren't you there at the KFC Yum Center? Anyway, when my youth pastor, of all people, invited me over to his house to watch Shogun Machida. How do I ask her / break the news to my family that she and I will be coming home a day early from our beach vacation so I can attend UFC Louisville live and in person? Thanks at Viva Helwani. You guys want to tackle that one?
All right, first off, that was not that long. I need you to go through the youth pastor thing again. What did that have to do with anything? I'm being serious. Who was he? He has to tell his girlfriend that they're leaving their beach vacation early?
Yes.
Is he going to UFC Louisville with the youth pastor?
Stop.
I'm being serious, man. You laughed through that.
Stop.
Shogun and Machida?
I'm sweating.
I'm also,
right now.
I have to admit, I'm a little bit lost. You started laughing too quickly that like I don't know what the story is here.
Do you have a link to these things?
Just
one more time. Re-rack that paragraph.
Bro, just ask your girlfriend if you could leave a day early and
Please, I need clearance on youth pastor Lyoto Machida. And
we're gonna get a 5-paragraph response.
That didn't feel like 5 paragraphs, by the way. That felt much shorter.
I read it.
He's got the glasses on.
You cut out like
let's
3
move along.
paragraphs.
Let's move
I
along.
feel like you just jumped from
No.
my car broke down in Cincinnati. My youth pastor's Lyoto Machida. How do I tell my girlfriend we're not going to the beach anymore? I feel like you really cut out a lot there. I feel like you said it was 5 paragraphs. You read 2 of them, and now we're missing a lot of information.
Prince Nassim Ham. Prince Nassim ham sandwich. Not bad. Hola, Ariel and crew. Shout out to you guys and welcome back from a restful spring break. You guys work so hard to make it by far the most impactful and relevant combat sports related show, period. Hey, combat sports, progress. I've also always noticed your amazing attention to detail from each and every member of the team. This is apparent. Whenever any on-air talent misspeaks even slightly, they correct themselves. Alternatively, politely corrected by another member of the show. This is awesome accountability, and it is rare on a live show consistently over 3 hours long. I can't imagine how stressful it must be but for you guys to put your ego aside in order to make the best show possible, I say bravo. One small addendum to 300 narrative. Aljamain Sterling wasn't the only fighter who was denied a post-fight interview. Jessica Andrade went straight out of the cage after the decision. Tiny detail, but want to show Aljo some love. He deserves it. Okay, that is fair. Keep on doing what you guys do. You're A1 since day one. P.S. The Las Vegas no sleep / no hotel / fly home strat is undefeated. Let's go. Do you guys know what A1 since day one is a reference to?
Billy Madison?
No.
I don't.
Jesus.
Steak sauce?
It's not that. I'm not that like single-minded.
I mean, it's a nice fallback, though.
It is fair. It is fair. That's from Anthony Edwards, like one of his first interviews with the Timberwolves.
Oh, shut up.
They asked him, like, could you play hockey? Could you do this? And he said, anything I try, I'm A1 since day one. Kevin from Ottawa. Hey, Ariel, could you pull back the curtain a bit on why the outro music is sometimes removed in the VODs of recent episodes. For example, in the April 1st and April 8th episodes, the music has been removed, but the April 3rd, 11th, and 12th episodes, it's still there. As someone who always watches the VODs, this has never happened until recently. Why is it only removed in some of them and not others? What? What is he talking about? Is this a real thing?
I have no idea.
Not that I know of.
Have I watched those episodes, the end of them, to see if there's music in them?
In the VOD?
No.
Like
right, video on demand. So, like, is he talking about like the interview breakouts? Is he talking about the full-length episodes?
Sounds like it. Or maybe
to be honest, this sounds like an audio question.
Is
this sounds
yeah.
like this
No,
is
I
above
think he
my
means
pay
the
grade.
live show replay on YouTube.
Is it possible that he's
Okay.
confusing the live show replay with the breakouts?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Anything's possible.
I don't know. This feels
Doesn't
like
sound like it's
Somebody
a
go
discussion,
back to those
Yeah.
episodes at the very end and see if the music is there.
Yeah. Okay. If someone could do that, that'd be great. Santiago, hello, crew. So happy to have you guys back. What's your opinion on Tyson versus Paul being sanctioned as a pro fight? I mean, I told you this would happen. Now, it's not typical, right? It's 14-ounce gloves. It's 2-minute rounds. But yes, it's a pro fight. The 2 minutes and the 14-ounce gloves is more notable than quote-unquote pro fight, in my opinion. And I feel better about 14-ounce gloves and 2-minute rounds than 10-ounce gloves and 3-minute rounds. I mean, if there's a fight, I would rather it not be like, hey, no knockdowns, no winner, no none of that. But you would like to see, the rules be as kind of fair and healthy as possible for the combatants. So I saw a lot of people get hung up on the pro part, but to me, the 14-ounce and the 2-minute round modification was more notable than the pro announcement. And let's just be honest, the fact that they went to Texas made me think that this was going to happen. Do you guys feel otherwise? Are you shocked by this?
No, not at all.
No, I mean, I assumed that when they were having these discussions on where to host this, they had a good feeling that Texas would be favorable to what conditions they wanted. I don't know if they maybe were angling for, 10-ounce gloves or 12-ounce gloves and 3 rounds. I don't know if they got all they want, but I have to feel that they probably wanted the pro aspect of it and knew that Texas would be agreeable to that.
Yeah. Does it bother you?
That it's pro or that it's 14
that it's 14 and 2 minutes? Like, does it make you think less because it's not your typical pro fight, right? Like the typical pro fight would be 3-minute rounds, 10 ounce.
This is going to shock you. I don't care about Jake Paul's real boxing career. He's not a real boxer.
What?
And so him fighting Mike Tyson in 20-ounce gloves wouldn't have made much of a difference to me. I'm here for the spectacle of it and don't care.
Just for
about
kicks,
the
just for
14-ounce
kicks.
gloves.
May 8th, so we're a little less than 2 months away. Who wins the fight?
Jake Paul.
Knockout?
Yeah.
Love to hear it.
GC?
I'm going to go Jake Paul decision.
Okay.
Decision victory for old Jake Paul.
And now that it's officially a pro fight, have they released the odds?
Let's see. Let's see if we can find something here. I want to say Jake Paul is going to be a pretty sizable favorite.
I wonder.
58 years old. Let's see, just scrolling here, filling the time.
There's going to be a lot of flyers taken on Mike Tyson by knockout, I feel like. There's going to be a lot of the betting public that
See,
really
I don't
is trying to will
actually
it
think
into
the odds
existence.
will be that big because of that reason.
Jake Paul minus 215.
There you
Mike
go.
Tyson plus 175.
That's pretty damn close.
crazy.
That's
crazy.
That's pretty damn close, right?
He's like minus 700 against Tommy Fury, and he's minus 250 against Mike Tyson.
Wasn't he
It's
like
crazy.
a huge favorite against Anderson Silva too, or am I crazy? No. There was Nate.
He was like, what was it, like
He
300 or
became
400
a
against
large
Silva?
favorite against Anderson Silva. I took Anderson Silva at like minus 140, and he closed at like plus 250. A ton of money came in on Jake Paul.
Crazy.
That was the one. That was the one that was going to get me and Rick out.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
Guys, what about this one from
Freaking
RIZIN
wish.
fan? Can you tell PFL to sell posters at their events? Bellator did, but PFL didn't have any. And nice little comment from Aunt Evans, our good pal Aunt Evans, the most notorious troll in combat sports. Sell to who? No one attends PFL shows. Golly.
Oh, come on, Aunt.
Well,
Wait,
he's
but
in
we
the
went
on
to-
the nose questions
Yes.
comment section. Man,
He's been a mainstay
just
in the
doesn't quit.
chat.
Yes,
for
yes.
weeks.
I actually want to throw this out there on DraftKings right now. I had a different book up. -180 Jake Paul, Mike Tyson +135. So even closer.
Wow.
Than
Oh, this is a good one for you. You guys in particular.
Wait.
Yes.
But before we move on from that, we went to Atlantic City and the UFC didn't even have posters.
They had posters. You could only buy signed ones, which
But you
were
could only buy the
$250.
autographed one.
Yeah, they
They've
were
had
like,
posters
yeah.
at PFL.
they were like, you sure you don't want one? Nursenton Ruzabayev signed this. I'm like, I'm all right, thank you.
How much was that?
No, but
$250.
$250. Golly.
The normal one is
I think
30, 40. It's like, come on.
Yeah. For a pay-per-view with
I'm not
legit stars on it, I think $250 is cool.
They didn't even give me a bag. I bought T-shirts and they were like, nope, no bags.
What?
Yeah.
Not even a paper bag?
It's Atlantic City, man.
Okay, guys, what about this one? King Zalo, Ariel and crew. Hope all is well. Thoughts on the Drizzy Kendrick beef? Golly, what is going on? I can see GC and New York Rick chanting Kendrick, but I know Helwani got to be standing up for the boy. Rap is alive and well. Tough to see the news today regarding Drake's security guard, though. Things might get messy. Cheers. Is it confirmed that the security guard incident had something to do with this, or is it just people assuming?
I think it's just
people
assumptions.
assuming.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Either
it's just
way,
assumptions.
Yeah.
it's that's awful. My quick thoughts on it are that I wasn't really paying attention to it in the early stages of it because I took a bit of a social media break during the hiatus, which was great for the soul, and I'm not really sure why I came back, if I'm being honest. But that being said, I did kind of catch up, especially on Friday, because I was sitting there having dinner by myself on Friday in Vegas, and all of a sudden Drake drops one and then he dropped another, Kendrick, in the span of like 18 minutes. And then I couldn't help but notice that Kendrick's video had like 540,000 views in the span of 12 minutes. It was absurd. I don't even know what it ended up at. And I see everyone weighing in. And there's some consistent people on social media, on Twitter, that have these like big grandiose takes on this feud that I just couldn't care less about. And they're just like, they make this into this whole statement on culture and race and the game and socioeconomic standing and all this stuff. I was like, geez Louise. The one thing I'll just say about it is I will always be a Drake fan. I love him. I'm a big fan of his music. I think that he and Kendrick are completely different artists. Kendrick to me is more of a lyricist, a poet. Talib Kweli, Common. Drake is more popish, rap, collab, blah, blah, blah. Two completely different guys. Two incredibly talented guys. The one thing, it makes me uncomfortable when kids are involved, when there's mentions of sons and daughters and all. Like, I just wish they would keep it about themselves and their, whatever, but it gets personal. Here's my question to you guys, which I still haven't figured out the answer and I haven't cared enough to really get into it. Why did this happen? How did this happen? Like, what's the impetus? Like, how did it pop off? Like, all of a sudden, why are they doing songs about each other? What's the incident?
I don't think there was like a actual incident. I think Kendrick went on a Metro Boomin and Future song, and like it got pretty hype, and like a lot of people were listening to it, and there was a Drake diss within that from Kendrick Lamar, and then Drake responded, and then there was some back and forth, but like where it really hit ahead was on Friday night when Drake put out a response. Kendrick put one out in the morning, I believe, and then Drake put one out that evening, Family Matters. And it was like, oh man, he responded the exact same day. This is crazy. I can't believe this. It was like a 7-minute rap song. And by the time I finished listening to that, I go on Twitter and they're like, oh, Kendrick just dropped his. And it was Meet the Grams. And like, yeah, it just like blew up. That's when like I saw like all of these crazy takes coming about it. I'm with you. I don't really have like a take on who won. Though like Kendrick having that one ready to go like 20 minutes later, and it was called Meet the Grams after he dropped Family Matters, yada, yada, yada. I just love how like much Twitter was on fire on Friday night. Like it was just like every time I refreshed, there was just a new, just insane meme. Everyone's talking about it.
Has there been another song by either since that Friday back and forth?
Yes.
Oh, geez. Really?
I believe one from each of them.
Golly.
Because Kendrick dropped one, and like the album artwork was the house where the attack happened, I believe, like zoomed in on Google Maps.
Come on.
I mean,
Really?
I could be.
I hate that.
I could be wrong on that, but like, there's definitely been multiple songs dropped since. It's a lot to keep up with. It's a lot to keep up with.
And what's the restaurant reference?
The restaurant reference?
You know, isn't there like a restaurant? I could be completely exposed.
Yeah, Drake was eating at the restaurant that Kendrick referenced in the video.
Oh, well, and then there's like the like supposed like fake daughter was like the
my
mole.
son, my 10-year-old son told me, "Have you heard about this beef? And did you know he was hiding his daughter, that Drake has a daughter?" I was like,
Yeah, but
what?
maybe that's
How did this
planted.
get to you? How did this get to
Maybe
you?
that's
though?
Oh, what
with
if
the
you?
mole.
He
TikTok.
has to be on some sort of social media. He saw it. His friends at school talking about it. I mean, it's everywhere. Every time I go on social, it's someone's talking about it.
Rick,
I
your
consume
thoughts?
this much in the way that I consume pro wrestling, which is like the content isn't really the thing for me. I'm kind of like enjoying the conversation about it,
Yeah.
and
Yes, the
listening
reaction
to
has
everything
been
I
the best
can
part.
and reading everything I can to the reaction to it. Like the songs themselves, like I don't really listen to a lot of music, so I'm not like playing these songs, but it sounds like some of Kendrick's are going to be like Billboard hits that people are going to be playing for quite a bit. But yeah, I'm enjoying like the drama of it. I like it. I like that it got personal because it always feels like rap beefs are kind of like stupid
I
and
just feel
not
bad
real.
for the kids. Look at the children.
Yeah, it's rap beef. This is what this is.
Okay,
So
so
children. Well, then there's
Biggie
also
and Pac
Kendrick.
era.
Kendrick's fiance is getting dragged into it. There's a lot going on.
and she's an adult. I don't like that either. But like this is like we're talking like a 6-year-old kid here is getting referenced. Mean Tangerine asks, who's winning or who won? I guess who won would imply that it's over.
Feels
The
like
streets are definitely saying
it feels like
Kendrick.
most people
Kendrick.
are saying Kendrick, but then like you also have a lot of the Drake fan boys like
Like me?
backing him until the end.
What are you talking about? Me? Is it?
No,
I went up. Okay. I really don't care. I mean, that's my guy. You got to back your guy. My fellow Canadian / Jew. I got to
right,
back him.
I'm not saying that you are doing this. There are Drake fans that are making like the 10-minute breakdown videos of why
Leave me
did
alone.
debate,
Leave
he
me
did
alone
all
with
that.
this. Yeah. He did reference Montreal in one of the videos. But
Shout
then,
out.
But then I wasn't sure if like, and then people are saying he's like, are they saying he's a pedo? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. That's
Golly.
definitely some of the
This is
accusations. Yeah,
intense.
the Kendrick being like ending that verse with he sings in or like whatever chord he chooses to sing is probably A minor. That was a pretty good one,
Listen,
yeah.
if that comes out, I'm out. I mean,
It could, I mean, I
want
don't
nothing
know.
to do
I don't know
with
who's
this.
It's
telling
kind of
truth. I mean,
already out.
It's
Drake's
rap
been
beef.
been
like,
linked to.
really?
Yeah, but there's a
to a
difference
lot of-
between like
a lot of
there's
younger women.
speculation and like, oh man, some of the things he's doing is kind of creepy, and like actually real validation that like there could be like court cases and whatnot.
I need to ask Action. Who's
You need to
backing.
ask someone more tapped
Action.
in,
Action
like,
could
yeah.
tell me, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of like on the peripheral, just been watching everything. I listened to each of the songs, but like I'm not sitting there analyzing and breaking down everything.
All right. Here's Patrick. Favorite segment of the week. Yeah, Ariel, how was it being on Morning Kombat last week in Vegas? I got to say, a reboot of the MMA beat with you, Luke, BC, Chuck, and maybe sprinkle in some GC and New York Rick would be pretty fucking epic. Yeah, I was on with the guys. They had a setup at the press conference. It was very quick, impromptu. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy talking to them. Except I will say, BC was trying so hard to just like shoehorn in these internet references. I was like, can you be normal for 3 seconds and just have a conversation? But very happy for them. Very happy that they're back. Very happy that they're up and running again. They do great work. So yeah, it was nice. Will we ever see an MMA beat again? Again, as I say, I do feel like the show I do with Pete and Chuck is a version of that. But I guess you're talking video. Maybe. Never say never. You know, you never know.
What were the internet references?
Oh my God, he's like a walking Reddit. Yeah.
Nothing about the Kendrick beef?
No. Like Fighter and the Kid stuff.
Oh, okay,
all
okay,
that type of stuff.
Look at Rick's
Yeah,
shaking grin.
yeah. I mean, we were so far past that. I was like, come on, BC. What is this? 2021. Anyway, it's a great time. I really do enjoy hanging with them, talking to them. You know, everything is long in the past, and yeah. The more fortified the media corps is, the better. I did say something on the thing which a couple people reached out to me about. I said that I thought that as like on the whole, the MMA media core is a deeper, more talented one than the boxing media core, and not saying that the boxing media core is bad at all, but like there's just some amazing writers in MMA. I think the three best are Chuck, Shaheen, and Ben folks, and I don't know if they have quality like feature writers like that in boxing. I know the talent isn't being used the same these days. And then like, people were reaching out and be like, well, what about this guy? What about this guy? Yeah, all those dudes were writing in the 50s and 60s. I'm not talking about all time. I just mean right now. And by the way, if I may, since we got on this subject, what the fuck is up with the boxing people on Twitter coming after me for saying, did you guys see this? It's still continuing. This thread isn't dying. On Monday morning, I'm walking my dog while watching Naoya Inoue put on a masterclass. He gets dropped in the first round. He comes back. He wins in, I believe it was the 6th. And he's unbelievable. And I tweet out two things that has offended everyone. Like I slapped them in the face. I spit in their mom's face. Number one, I said, you know what? I almost feel like I need to have the actual tweets up because this is so absurd that it has bothered people this much. Okay, here it is. Wait for it. Sorry, there's a lot of Knicks retweets here and stuff. It's a great win on Dante DiVincenzo, 3-pointer. Wait for it. All the tweets on Monday. This was Monday morning, so a lot has happened. Dan Hardy, Pantoja. Wait, we're getting there. Oh, MMA are back. Okay, here it is. First one was freakish power. How high can he go? Meaning Inoue, who's fighting at 122. 135, 140 seems too big. But man, imagine the fights up there. Oh my God. Tell me you don't watch boxing without telling me you don't watch boxing. Get the fuck out of boxing. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, next tweet. Doubt it ever happens. Again, doubt it ever happens. But Inoue Tank at Dodger Stadium would be one of the coolest scenes in American boxing history. Now, again, the reason why I wrote Dodger Stadium was because on the broadcast, they talked about Bob Arum wanting to bring Inoue to Dodger Stadium because of the Japanese fan base there. I'm sure Otani being there now has something to do with it, but there is a huge population there. It's proximity to Japan. And they go, fucking idiot, why would he go to Dodger Stadium? I'm referencing something that was said on the damn broadcast. Don't pretend for a second that Inoue Tank has not been bandied about. I know they've both shot it down. I know they both don't fight in the same weight class. Tank 135, Inoue 122. That's weird. That's a 13-pound difference. I'm not talking about Inoue fighting fucking Canelo or Tyson Fury, but this is, type in Google Inoue and Tank Davis. There's a gazillion takes on this. There's a gazillion videos on this. There's a gazillion articles on this. And even Dan Canobio, who I think one is the best in boxing media, who hosts Inside Boxing Live, and he and Chris Algieri talked about it on their podcast after the fight, talking about a catch weight at 130, Tank versus Inoue. Get the fuck out of here with this. Like these gatekeepers of boxing, which I've only been respectful. I've watched boxing long before I even knew what MMA stood for, what the UFC was. All of a sudden be like, get the fuck out of here with your unknowledgeable takes. One dude DM'd me and said, you don't know shit about boxing. If you need me to help you out along the way, I'd be happy to help you because I respect you. I was like, what? Inoue Tank is me being exposed to not know anything about boxing, a fight that has been talked about where there's a 13-pound difference. Now they start talking to me about his bone density. And then I, of course, come back with Manny Pacquiao, who started off at 106 and went all the way up to, I think it was 147, fought at a 154-pound fight. They tell you, he was a malnourished Filipino who didn't have the proper nutrition and stuff like that. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, so now you're talking to me about their bone density and making all kinds of excuses, pretending that, De La Hoya and Pacquiao and Canelo and all these guys didn't make massive jumps throughout their career. Get the fuck out of here. These same people are the same people who said Francis Ngannou didn't stand a chance against Tyson Fury. So they can look at me as the MMA guy all they want. Inoue Tank has been talked about. I said I doubt it happens. I said I doubt it would happen in Dodger Stadium or anywhere else. I said 35 is too big for him. But don't pretend for a second that none of this has ever been talked about. And don't pretend for a second that it wouldn't be gigantic. And don't pretend for a second that it can't happen because there isn't that large of a gap between them. So I can't believe I got these dudes like Enzo Maccarinelli ready to me like, you don't know shit about boxing. Fuck out of here. I don't know shit about boxing. Why? Just because I'm on DAZN now, you guys are all offended? You're offended that the MMA guy is talking about boxing? It bothers you? What credentials do I have? It really bothers you that I brought up Inoue and Tank? And I said I doubt it happens? Not even that I think it will happen or should happen, but I'm just daydreaming, fantasy booking. Yeah, guess what? Rocky Marciano against fucking Lennox Lewis is never going to happen either. And people do fantasy booking and fantasy like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Oh, that pissed me off. It just kept coming. Look at this fucking idiot. Look at this MMA idiot. Look at this guy. Doesn't know shit about shit. Doesn't know anything about the sweet science. Doesn't know anything about pugilism. Oh, he can't tell you who's the 5th ranked guy in the WBA rankings. Fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck. This shit pissed me off so much because I've listened to people talk about Inoue versus Tank all day. Who let this guy into boxing? Oh yeah, like it's never happened. Like it's never fucking happened. Canelo fighting fucking. I'm talking about Canelo fighting fucking Usyk. Canelo went all the way up to fucking fight Dimitri Bivol. He fought at 175. Anyway. Sorry. I didn't mean to swear so much.
It's one. I'll just add on to that. It's one thing to say like,
he could have transitioned with Inoue.
Inoue is going to win that fight,
nice.
which is my position. Like, I don't think Inoue is going to win that fight. It's another thing to say like, oh my God, this fight can't be made. I don't want to see this fight. Are you crazy? Like, I want to see this fight. I would love to see this fight, especially if it happened at a catch weight. With Tank coming down a little bit now, is he willing to do that? I don't know. But I just want to see Inoue in a big fight. Like, I just want to see him in like the biggest possible fight because I think he's worthy of that platform and that stage. So like, while I don't think he's going to win, hell yeah. Like, let's do it. I'm into it. I want to see it. Which I think is your position as well.
I'm on the tweet right now. I'm seeing it.
Oh, it's ridiculous, right? You're right though. I'm looking I'm looking at the YouTube chat. You're right. I do need to stop reading this shit, but like you see it coming in, and you're like, what? Listen, I'll own up to a bad take. This was not one of them. I'm sorry, especially because I said I doubt.
I don't even feel like you had a take.
Oh, I just said I doubt it's gonna happen. But wouldn't it be great? Could we just sit back while I'm picking up my dog's poop on the side of the fucking lawn? Can we just sit back and marvel at this?
But truly, that's not a take. That's just like, I want to see this happen. Like, that's not a take.
I felt like I was living in a fucking fantasy world because I'm reading this and everyone's like, who let this guy in? What in? I'm tweeting about it.
Better chance of Dana sending you a Christmas card. Man's really said 135. Skull emoji, skull emoji, skull.
Dude, it's 13 pounds.
A take would be if you led with like, I think Inoue is going to beat Tank. Like, that's a take, right?
You should have left 140 off of the tweet. I'm seeing a lot of people going after the 140 part.
Whatever. By the way, Manny Pacquiao fought in a 154-pound fight and weighed in at 146 or something, or 144.6 or 146.4. So like, just because it's a 140 fight doesn't mean he actually has to weigh at that amount. And the reason I put 35 was because that was Tank's last fight. So I know Tank isn't going to go down for him. So, okay, maybe he comes up. Maybe he fights him at 135 and weighs in at 130. I don't know. Fuck, who gives a shit? Golly. These people, like, okay, you know what? This flows in very nice into our next question. Craig. Hi, Ariel. If I could take you back to the Garcia-Haney fight and specifically your words on camera after the event where you said many people owe Garcia an apology. You described the concerns about his state of mind and calls for the fight to be canceled as, quote, sanctimonious hand-wringing. End quote. My question is, why? Ryan was undeniably displaying concerning behavior, whether genuine or not, touching on some dark issues, and by his own admission, was drinking throughout his camp. This would be cause for concern in any walk of life, let alone high-level boxing. Was it really fair to write off concerns in this manner, especially given what has emerged after the fight in relation to the drug test? All the best, Craig. I said that because leading up to the fight, all I heard was, shame on anyone covering this. Shame on anyone supporting this. Shame on anyone who's not calling for this fight to be canceled. Shame on anyone who is not saying that Ryan isn't fit to fight. Blah blah blah. Ryan shouldn't be fighting. I'm not going to support this. All I heard, and that's the same stuff that I heard about Teofimo Lopez last summer when he fought, and everyone was like, this shouldn't happen. oh, I rarely feel uncomfortable. This is making me uncomfortable. I can't support this, blah, blah, blah. And look what happens. He wins. And so I remind you that in fighting, there are crazy people. And some of the greatest fighters of all time are crazy and act crazy. And part of what makes them greats as far as stepping into the squared circle is their craziness. And so this sanctimonious hand-wringing about like, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you. Like, this is fighting. This is prize fighting. You want to watch, saints go out there? Go watch, I don't know, curling. Go watch golf. I don't know what to tell you, but I just found it weird that everyone was writing him off. Everyone was saying he was not fit to fight. Like, how do you know? How do you know that he wasn't fit to fight? Did you speak to him behind the scenes? Did you talk to his doctors? Did you talk to the commission? Or are you just sitting there virtue signaling so that everyone goes like, you know what? You're right. You care about the fighters. Yeah. You care about the fighters. You're saying that this fight shouldn't happen. And you're saying that you wouldn't cover this and you wouldn't say, that you would support it because, maybe you're not there, or you're not a part of the broadcast team, or you're not making like I don't know what the reason is for boycotting Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, two fighters in their prime, which ended up being a great fight, a very high level fight because of his behavior beforehand. Like we've seen some dudes act a little wacky before fights in boxing and in MMA. No one's calling it off. They're not all saints. Did I love everything that he said? No. Did I think that some of the stuff that he said was wacky? Absolutely. Would I say those things? Would I act that way? No. But I'm also not a boxer. I also don't possess that DNA. I don't know why I'm going up here, but you get what I'm saying? I'm not wired that way. And so I just felt like there was a lot of people, and I know Rick agrees with me, right, Rick? There was a lot of people saying, call this off, I'm not supporting this, based on what? So that you could get a pat on the back?
Yeah, well, what was again, I think everybody can acknowledge if we truly believe something is wrong with Ryan Garcia, there should be things in place, right? If there was something truly wrong with Ryan Garcia, we would hope that a commission would step in. We would hope that his team would step in. Enough hurdles were crossed, enough things were passed that at a certain point, it's clear this fight is going to happen, and that's the reality we're living in. Like the idea of like, he said this thing on Twitter, so I don't think he should fight. Like, okay, like. What qualifies you to make that call is my question. Like, I'm okay with voicing concern. I'm okay with people being like, man, I really hope Ryan Garcia is in a good spot. But like, to want to pull him from a fight because of your amateur analysis of his tweets, like that's where I start to get a little bit
surprised to see that from the boxing media. I saw a lot of the boxing media say like, oh, he shouldn't fight. He's not fit to fight. Have you not heard of Mike Tyson?
I think with GC, yeah, I mean every fighter. I mean, not every fighter, but a lot of fighters. I think when this first was starting and Ryan's first Twitter storm came out, GC and I were hosting a show and we were talking about it. And I think I said right away, Teofimo Lopez, the day before his fight, people were calling for him to be out of the fight. And then he goes out, wins, looks fine. And it's just yeah, moving on. We do have to slow down on a little bit of the concern, the virtue signaling when it comes to this stuff. Certainly, do I think that Ryan Garcia is in a good spot and the most well-adjusted human I've ever seen? No, definitely not. That's my own analysis of it. But I'm going to trust professionals over myself to make the diagnosis on what needs to be done there. And if he's fit to fight, a commission is clearing him and his team is comfortable putting him to that fight, that he's not going to be a danger to himself, I'm kind of just going to sit back and let them do their thing. That's my position. I'm not out here trying to pull people from their opportunity just based on amateur tweet analysis.
And by the way,
I'm 100% in that camp.
I'll go even further. I don't even believe that he is trolling or that he was trolling. I just think that he is this guy.
He might be manic. He might have
chapter in his life
episodes.
Is this guy. Yeah. You don't sit around and troll like that. And look, it has continued for the most part. So I think it's cool to say after the fact, I was planning all of this. But the fact of the matter is, on that night, he won. Now, it has all been called into question, A, because of the missing of weight, but most importantly, because of the 2 failed drug tests, April 19th and 20th. They are testing the B samples. The B samples aren't going to say anything different. They never do. Dan Rayfield, who has been on top of the story from the beginning, reported last night that the anabolic steroid nandrolone was not found in his system. There was some question as to would it be found in the April 19th drug test. It has not been found. And that's huge for Ryan, not because it lets him off, but because that's an anabolic steroid and it's hard to come back from that. Ostrin has been found in other supplements. It happened to Daniel Rodriguez, got a slap on the wrist. It happened twice to Sugar Sean O'Malley and others. And so my prediction is he will get a fine, he will get some kind of suspension, and the fight will be overturned into a no contest. How long that suspension is, I don't know. When he comes back, I'd like to see him fight Devin again. I think that would be the biggest fight for both of them. We move along. From Ronnie Pickering. Helwani, what are your thoughts on Chantelle Cameron splitting with Matchroom? By the way, more boxing questions and MMA questions. What's that say to you? Huh? What's that say? I don't know. Do you think it's the right decision? Also, do you think she should have been given the rematch with Katie? Is Cameron's activity on social media towards Matchroom Katie the reason for the split? I don't know the reason for the split. I know she was unhappy for a while. I do think she deserves a third crack at Katie. I do think Katie taking the Amanda Serrano fight on Netflix at AT&T Stadium makes all the sense in the world. It's just a gigantic fight, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime fight. I would like at some point, maybe even after this fight, for them to fight for a third time. And I don't think her signing with Queensberry now means that can happen because look at all the work that they are doing together. But she seemed unhappy. It's always tough when a promoter is in a position that Eddie was in where he's been with Katie forever, and he's clearly a little bit more favorable to her because of their relationship, because of what she's meant to his career and his promotion. Chantelle isn't that person, but I would say that I think Matchroom has been very good to Chantelle Cameron and put her in a position to be an undisputed champion. And, we don't know everything that went on behind the scenes, but it seems like maybe there was some hard feelings there. And now she goes to Queensberry. Queensberry hasn't had a ton of women's boxers. Recently, I thought maybe she would consider Boxer, because they have more. But this is interesting, and maybe this still leaves the door open for that third fight, because if she went to Boxer, it probably wouldn't happen. Welcome back, gang. And we're going to be joined by Mike Perry very soon. This is from Adam. You guys were talking about the roast of Tom Brady on Monday's show. Ariel, if you had a roast of yourself, who would you invite? Rampage Jackson would be an obvious one. Perhaps Action Bronson? Let me know who else. I'm glad the MMA hour is back. I was very bored for the last 2 weeks. I'm Israel Chai, Adam. Rampage would be an obvious one. I don't know who else I would have. I don't know if Action would really want to make fun of me like that. I feel like. Do you guys think that the Tom Brady thing was too mean-spirited? Is it possible for a roast to be too mean-spirited?
Nah, that's what a roast is. You know what you're getting into.
Not even a little bit.
Like should Giselle not have been...
Stop. Come on.
I don't know.
I used to watch these all the time on Comedy Central. They used to have them frequently. This feels like they hit on it. Kevin Hart hit on it with Jeff
Ross.
Jeff Ross. Like he's literally, I only know him from these roasts.
The Roastmaster General, yeah.
Yeah, the Roastmaster General. That's all I know him from.
Well, I read a thing that Giselle was upset.
We'll deal with it. I don't
is
know
it true she cheated on him? Is that why they broke up?
Oh boy,
BJJ coach.
Get into this.
What? The BJ first it was the karate coach. Then it was the BJJ
that was my favorite part. They kept switching up the martial arts. So good.
He's a BJJ coach. I've been seeing tweets online, and I don't know who to credit because somebody sent this to my group thread, and I don't know who it was, but saying like Tom Brady's brilliant because he made this roast so that Giselle would get roasted for being a skank. I mean, he
got paid a ton of money
funny
to go on Netflix and have his ex-wife just get flamed the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good, man. I mean, seeing Tom Brady going after Kim Kardashian right in front of her face, so good.
Yeah. Nothing is off limits. Nothing should be off limits. And I would say an Ariel Helwani roast needs some people that are also like adversarial. It's no fun if it's just like. The whole thing was like Belichick and Brady. Kraft is there. Like you have to introduce some elements of like
who would you
real
suggest?
drama
Anyone?
to it. It
like,
can't just be
Dylan Dennis, Patty Pimblett,
Dana White, whoever we can get. We're doing the whole.
I mean, Dana got his first scrap on Sunday. That would be hilarious if he did another.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever wrote Dana's jokes, come on back for the Ariel Helwani roast.
I didn't get to the Dana part. How do you do?
He did fine. It was like a little 60-second thing, but it kind of got overshadowed because the Kill Tony guy immediately took the mic after that and had like one of the best roasts of the entire thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He just went down the line.
I watched all 3 hours.
Just fried everyone.
Fuck, I need to finish watching that. I'm only
definitely
like
don't watch
minutes.
with the kids and just like throw any chance of getting offended out the window. Just like
it's amazing. No, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and part of the reason why I didn't want to watch it was because I don't love Tom Brady, if only because he just beat my team all the time.
Oh,
but
they make Bills 3 hours of people dumping on him.
But then I realized that actually this is perfect for someone like me because it's just 3 hours of shitting on the guy.
Forget Giselle jokes. They're making Aaron Hernandez jokes. Like this thing was way off the rails.
By the way, why would he agree to this?
Money. He definitely got paid. He definitely got paid a bunch by Netflix, and it just puts you back in the spotlight, man.
I know, but why would anyone agree to sit up there and just get like? I give him a ton of credit. I'm just curious.
Because you got to go into it just with an open mind and just be willing to laugh at yourself because it was hilarious, dude. Like it was.
Does it make you like Brady more?
Man, I like Brady more, but I think the biggest thing I took away is like he's really had some work done, man. He looks like an action figure. Like, he's
really?
Had like a lot of.
Wow, this is part of the roast right here.
It was on the roast. There was a few people.
Damn.
And all the women say it looks great. So, like, what am I gonna say?
Yeah,
I'm a fucking 30-year-old bald dude. He's got a full crop of hair up there.
Samuel, hey, does it ever get super tough when you know a fight is done, but it's been told to you in confidence, and then you get on the show and have to speculate with the gang and not give it away, or times you've had to play dumb? Glad you are back. Yes. No, it's not tough. It's not tough. It's not tough at all. I would rather not break someone's confidence or break someone's trust than get it out there and get, a few tags or whatever. Definitely not worth it. So it is not tough. Chris, hello, Ariel. I was recently at One Championship Fight Night 22 in Bangkok. When mid-event, they played a clip of the MMA Hour talking about how good Stamp Fairtex is. Why do you think fighters of One Championship haven't come across as successful compared to those of other organizations like the UFC? I don't even know what this clip is, but that's cool, I guess. I'm not sure. Maybe they haven't done as much work promoting here, and there's not as many Americans on the roster. And the main thing is, it's the same thing with PFL and with Bellator. Like the UFC is such a behemoth that they take up a lot of the oxygen, and the way it's structured, it's all UFC has become in many respects like Kleenex as far as MMA is concerned, and everything else kind of feels like the UFL. It's not, the talent is not, but the UFC is on enough to where it's hard for other people to wedge in, especially when their shows are maybe in the morning or in the middle of the night. Their roster is amazing. PFL's roster is amazing. Bellator still has a very, very good roster. We said it that they had the best, collection of champions when they got sold than they've ever had. The man who is headlining the May 17th card in Paris, Patchy Mix, is as good as anyone in the UFC at 135, including the champion. You can make a case. Who knows what would happen in the fight? But he is a legit top 5 bantamweight, top 3 bantamweight. So is Johnny Eblin, in my opinion, at 185. But they just take up a lot of the oxygen, like I said, and people don't get, they don't get psyched about these other events because there's just so many UFC events to get psyched about. Andy Koufax. Ariel, it's Andy from Atlantic Terminal fame. Shout out serendipitous post-work train station encounters with legends in their respective field. I read a question from Andy the week of Garcia Haney, and Andy, who had a great question, I forgot what the question was, he walks up to me and he goes, Ariel, it's me. And I'm like, I don't recognize you. And he goes, Andy Koufax from the Substack. And in my mind, I didn't want to be mean, but I'm like, how would I know what you look like? His profile thingy is a orange dot. There's not even a face on it. But it was very funny and very crazy that I had just read his question the day before. Anyway, he says, everyone knows Dustin got that dog in him, but plus 410 seems like a bit much. Am I being blinded by his win over BSD and the story? What do you think about this line? Also, no matter what happens, you got to power through. The game needs you. It's easy to feel the opposite sometimes, but I promise there's a lot more love than hate out there. Stay safe, Andy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Considering who Islam is, plus 410 seems about right. Do you agree, GC, or do you think that's too high?
No, that feels about right. That feels about right.
Out of respect, I think there might be a few people who are, emotionally invested in the story that might put a flyer or two, but you have to respect Islam. Number one pound for pound right now in the world.
Yeah, there'll be people that throw flyers, but I would heavily favor Islam.
By the way, you asked Dustin, is Islam better than Habib? And he's like, yeah, he's got better jiu-jitsu, he's better striking. Like, if he's better than Habib, like, that's the respect that the betting line should show.
Right.
Like, Islam's a beast. Islam's a savage. So yeah, I think it's accurate. I think Dustin is an extremely good and capable fighter. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, it makes sense.
What about this one? Tayshawn 8888. Ariel, it is with great joy and sadness that I report that our very own GC has graduated to the ranks of stardom, that I can no longer earn his reply. I have a package to send to you all, and I am hoping to confirm delivery address. Please assist and be sure to give GC some proper shit. Y'all are amazing, and I love to see the crew ascending. You know yourself. What's going on here, GC? Why are you ignoring Tayshawn?
I have no idea. I don't know. I apologize to Tayshawn.
Where can he reach out to you to get us this package?
I don't know. My email.
What about your DMs? Can he slide in there? Or?
I mean, there's
a lot going on there.
I mean, there's quite a few. Tayshawn was his name.
8888. Maybe he can write us, and next week we can confirm.
We think that's Can we get like a?
All he has to do is run up to you in person and say, "Hey, it's me, Tayshawn 888," and you'll know exactly
Tayshawn
what it is.
88888. Oh, there it is with the UFC logo.
Is that true?
Here we go. Ah, yes. All right. Yep.
Wow. Apparently, there's not that many that you just found it that quickly.
No, I looked him up.
Oh, you looked him up?
The Instagram bar and then hit message on him.
His name is also
Tayshawn 88888. Yeah. I found him. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. He first messaged me March 19th, 2023, and then again April 20th. And then again, April 22nd.
All right. We'll get on that, Tayshawn.
He actually already has the address. Wow. Shout out to Tayshawn.
Wait, so what is he asking for?
Yeah, I think he's just looking for a little confirmation. I'll give it to him right now.
There it is. Joshua, Ariel, GC, and Rick. Any chance Jon Jones moves on from Stipe and takes on Tom Alex? I think Alex fights in Manchester. I think Jones maybe fights in the fall. I mean, maybe. But Alex...
It's so far away. Like, anything could happen realistically. Like, what if Stipe can't make it to the fight? They're not going to just sit on Jones forever. So yeah, I think it's possible.
Alex seems like more of a long shot, right?
Yeah.
What's the bigger fight, Alex or Tom?
Alex at the moment.
Alex, for
Alex
sure.
At the moment. I think with a
if he's going for the heavyweight title,
GC.
no doubt, Alex.
Yeah.
If with a really impressive performance in Manchester, I think it'll be neck and neck. I think Tom is like on that trajectory for some real stardom. And the way he's going to look, like, imagine if Alex had been fighting at 301, the mega reaction he would have had there. Tom is going to get that. Tom is going to be in Manchester. And if he can win that fight and look impressive, it's going to be insane. It's going to be a madhouse. That helps. That really helps in terms of building. Like, we talk about, like, there was a question earlier, like, what is ONE FC not doing? Like, it just doesn't feel like that when their fighters are achieving the ultimate highs. So when Tom is in front of that pro Tom Aspinall crowd in Manchester, if he's able to do what he's been able to do lately, it's going to feel big. And the calls for Tom versus Jon are going to be deafening. And so, yeah, who knows what happens from here. I think ultimately if Stipe and Jon are both healthy, they will do that fight. But if Stipe doesn't make it to the fight, I know Tom would answer that call in a heartbeat.
So, you know what's interesting? Joshua and the person right under him, Ethan, ask essentially the same question. Joshua asks, who wins best roaster from the Tom Brady roast? Ethan asks, these three, in his opinion, were the top three. Nikki Glaser. Is it Glazer or Glasser?
Glazer. Yeah.
Glazer. Tony Hinchcliffe and the great Andrew Schultz. That's his top three. Who's number one? I don't feel like I can weigh in because I didn't even get. I got to Nikki. I didn't get to Andrew or Tony.
Solid top three. That's the right order for the comedian side.
Nikki,
it was Nikki
number one.
She's separated from the pack. She's number one.
Wow.
I thought Tony was pretty good too.
It was great.
Pretty good.
It was great. Nikki stole the show. Nikki was number one.
I think I might go Tony as number one and then Nikki. I think that's inarguably the top two. I think both of them just absolutely killed it. I kind of liked Drew Bledsoe's was decent.
I like Drew.
I was gonna say
I liked Belichick.
I'd put some of the I would put some of the NFL guys before I'd have a number 3 on the comedian side. Whoever wrote for the NFL guys, they were all really good.
I mean, Kevin Hart was also incredible. I know he wasn't like, he didn't just have like the one thing where he walked up, but Kevin Hart was amazing throughout the show as well.
Thomas, what's up, Ariel? Pacers fan here. Congrats on your game 1 win. I'm hoping in game 2 we could play 5-on-5 instead of 8-on-5. Wah. All jokes, but in honor. By the way, you know that's you guys are complaining about the offensive foul. That same call was called against the Knicks earlier in the game. Now you could say, oh, it doesn't get called in that moment, but you can't freaking body check the guy. All right, sorry, call's a call. It's like in fighting. If the guy is out with a second left, you make the call. You don't say play out the round. And unfortunately, there was 14 seconds left. Anyway, in honor of Pacers versus Knicks, I want to ask where you were for Reggie Miller's 8 points in 9 seconds and what you remember about that moment. Miss you guys over the break. It's good to have you back. I remember that moment like it was yesterday. I was sitting in my den with my 2 brothers. I thought the game was over. It was a Sunday afternoon. Game 1, Knicks, Pacers, 95, MSG. Thought the game was over. I remember the sequence. It was a 3-pointer and then another 3-pointer. And then 3-pointer, stole the ball, bad pass, another 3-pointer. Starks goes back, misses 2 free throws. Then they come back, score again. I felt shell shocked. And I knew right there that the season was over, even though that was game 1. I remember this was 95. We didn't have American cable at the time. We only had Canadian cable. We didn't have a satellite. Game 5 was on TNT. We didn't get TNT, and no channel, believe it or not, aired the game in Canada. So I went to an Expos game instead. No cell phone. This is how I found out that the Knicks won Game 5. I came home, had no idea no idea about the game. There was no way to get an update on the game. We're living cell phoneless, and I get home. I turn on CNNSI, if anyone remembers that channel. I wait for the 11 p.m. sportscast to start. They had their own version of SportsCenter. They lead with Knicks Pacers, and I'm watching the highlights as if I'm watching a game. Like I'm rooting on the highlights, and it ends with Ewing getting a pass, dribble around the foul line, makes a shot with like a second left. They all drape him. They win Game 5, and then eventually they get bounced in 7. Ewing misses the finger roll with seconds left, and I was in the same spot when that happened, and I started crying. I'm in 8th grade. Give me a break. And my brother went and got a Kleenex box, and he whipped it at my head. It was awful. I'll never forget it. It's been a long road. Anyway.
2-1 Real final.
Wow. What happened?
They scored again.
You're kidding.
Stoppage. Nah.
Who scored?
I can't even remember.
I feel bad. It's over?
It's over. Yeah, I mean, they're about to call it. It's over, though, yeah.
Poor Harry Kane.
Poor Harry Kane.
Poor Alphonso Davies.
I mean, Real, they're just inevitable.
They always freaking make it. Do you think that the...
They always make it. They always win.
Do you think that how many times have they won now? Like 7 times or something?
The Champions League?
Yeah.
No, I think like 15, dude.
Jeez Louise. I see the goal right here. Who was that? Who was that? My guy Jude? Hey, Jude. No, it wasn't. Do you think that the German fans will root for Dortmund, or do you think they'll root?
That's a good question. I feel like they'll root against them. But man, I don't know. I mean, Real did just end their season.
Miguel, hello, Ariel. Stemming from Monday's talk about your glasses, have you ever considered contacts or having surgery? How bad is your eyesight? My eyesight is horrible. Left eye cannot see anything far, completely blind. Right eye can't see anything close. There's a word for that. There's a term for this. I don't know what it is. I don't like contacts. I don't like the idea of putting my finger in my eyeball or touching it. And I haven't considered surgery because I'm just kind of a wimp, and I don't know. I just feel like it could go wrong. Hey, Rick, this question is for you from Jeremy. What is your favorite season of The Challenge? And did you hate Johnny Bananas as much as I did for taking the money from Sarah?
Oh boy. Yeah, that's hard. I mean, there's a lot of great ones. Battle of the Exes, War, War of the Worlds, I think. I'm forgetting the title. Inferno, Gauntlet, like all the fresh meat, all the early ones, like that's the era. And no, absolutely not. Johnny Bananas made some of the best television ever by taking the money from Sarah. Couldn't have been happier. I thought it was one of the greatest moments in TV history, if not the greatest. So yeah.
War of the Worlds like all the real world stuff?
No, it was like different countries. Different countries.
Right.
Yeah. It's expanded quite a bit. There's like CBS people on it now, and like I'm kind of a traditionalist, like keep it simple, give me the challengers. But this season's been pretty good, solid, or rather, All Stars has been pretty good. So, yeah, All Stars is the new flagship, but the challenges is just it's so good. It's so good.
Is it still going
I
on?
love it so much. Oh man, they've got like 10 spin-offs now. It's incredible.
Is it still
There's
on
a
MTV?
universe.
Is it still on MTV or is it on?
So
Paramount?
it's on Paramount now.
Yeah.
Because like it was MTV for the longest time. Now it's kind of like branched out to their streaming service because, as you can imagine, that's such a hot commodity for them. So, and also, what was MTV at this point? It was like Ridiculousness and the Challenge. Like it was reruns of Ridiculousness and the Challenge. So they had to kind of bring it over to streaming. But yeah, next level. Just the best show. The best show. The best anything. Form of entertainment.
Sure.
I love it.
Just a couple more. Ant Evans, hello again. Hey mate, really enjoyed you appearing on Luke Thomas's show last week. Well, apart from that super spaz Brian Campbell interrupting you, bigging up my YouTube business, I know you and Luke had a period of not speaking, and it was great to see you guys broadcast together. I've always enjoyed the latent sexual tension between you two. Anyways, I was wondering if you and the boys could speak on how cathartic it is to let bygones go and let go of old resentments and arguments. Life really is too short. You said it, Antoine. I mean, as I've said, we only get one shot at this life, and, things are going to happen. Feelings will be hurt, but I really do believe in not trying to hold on to grudges, and letting them fester. I feel like they're a disease. I've said this before. So I think there's a great sense of accomplishment to let bygones be bygones and bury hatchets, and you just kind of feel, especially when you spearhead the makeup, if you will. It's a great feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. You feel like you're above it all. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I can confirm no sexual tension. But I've always enjoyed working with Luke. We had some great times on the MMA beat, and I felt like everything that happened in the aftermath was a bit of a misunderstanding, and I'm glad it's behind us. What about Dan asking, how about Keon Coleman? Did you guys see this guy, the Bills' #1 draft pick, who showed up talking about his jacket and the cookies and everything like that? To that I say, Stephon who? Yeah, I hope he's good. They also signed Chase Claypool, which is exciting. So look, I believe in Brandon Beane. I believe in the Bills. I believe in my Knicks. He also asks me, how about them Knicks? Could be worse. I guess I'm worried that we're just going to run out of steam here. It does feel very 1999-esque, where maybe, we get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I would be very, very happy with the Eastern Conference Finals run. And then it's a really tough test against Boston, but so was Indiana in 99. And then you meet a juggernaut like Minnesota, who's just gigantic with Gobert and Towns, or you meet Denver if they can turn it around with the freaking MVP Jokic, or you meet OKC, who are just an absolute buzzsaw. You wonder, but one at a time. Game 2 tonight. I'd love to beat Indiana. I really would. Howdy, lads. As you read this from OC. Hey, OC, our moderator. I will likely be sitting on a beach in Puerto Rico. Am I wrong in thinking you went to Puerto Rico yourself somewhat recently, or was that one of my fever dreams? No, I was there for the Amanda Serrano fight that never was. Do you have any food, restaurant, anything recommendations for another traveler to this island? Did you do anything particularly fun or memorable there? Not really. I mean, I walked around. I enjoyed it. The beach was beautiful. Ate at a couple of good restaurants, and one of them were fans of the show. They actually gave me a dish that they said that GC should review, but I don't remember what it was. I'm sorry. It's a great place. Very nice people. Love the vibes. Shout out to Puerto Rico. San Juan. P.S. Bring back the glasses. This is for you. I brought them back. Trevor, hello, Ariel and crew. First of all, let's address some haters. I'm talking about everyone coming at Helwani and Co. talking about WWE. I'll admit it, I'm a diehard MMA fan, and that's why I listen. But even I know that the wrestling gets eyes and ears. Just look at the numbers on YouTube and some socials. For the record, not why we do it, but fine. The views on some of those interviews tops that of most beloved MMA fighters. Clearly, there's an audience that wants to see some of this content, and Ariel does a phenomenal job. Same goes for boxing. I like the integration of some of the other combat sports. I might not watch all the wrestling content, but it clearly has an audience. So bravo, Ariel and the rest of the crew. Thanks, Trevor. Two-part question from a big Aussie MMA fan. My mom was born in Tasmania. Let's go, Rob Wilkinson. Who is everyone's favorite Australian, New Zealand fighter? And which Australian/New Zealand fighter? Is that fair to group them together? I guess Anzac, but I kind of like to separate them. Anyway, we'll get a belt back to the land down under since there are currently no UFC champs from the land. P.S. Go Timberwolves and go Knicks. Want some good money in round one, and so far so good in round two. Thanks, Trevor in Minnesota. I mean, I still think Izzy can win. I think Rob can win. I think Volk can win. Ursig had a good showing. Perhaps Carlos Ulberg this weekend. Who am I missing? Casey O'Neill represents. Am I missing anyone? Okay. I guess not. Chris, Ariel, welcome back. I noticed you went a full week without taking to Twitter or breaking your silence. Just wondering how you handled the absence from social media. And do you see yourself doing it more? Glad to have you and the crew back in our lives. Chris, yes. After the Garcia-Haney fight, I was like, you know what? Let me just take a break here. Let me be more present. It's a little vacation with the family. And actually, like after a day, you just stop. You realize that it's such a habit and like an obsession. Like when you're bored, you just go on. And when you make a conscious decision not to go on, you realize that you're not missing that much. And I wasn't totally off. I was on Instagram and all that, but I feel like it's more fun over there. I don't know. It's more visual and there's less bullshit. And so, yeah, I didn't mind it. And then I broke the silence, so to speak, when the Knicks beat the Sixers in Game 6. It felt good. I'd never been off for that long. And I wasn't even off, by the way, and like still looking. Sometimes people would send me things and I would click on it, and it wasn't like I was trying my hardest to like just ignore it for whatever reason. But I really just felt I felt a little bit freer. I felt a little bit less, I don't know, less saddled by it all. So, yeah, it was nice. It was fun. There's a lot of bullshit on there. And there's nothing worse than someone in my position sitting here and complaining about social media. You know, grow thick skin, be a man up, whatever. But, you know, we're all human beings. And sometimes you wake up and you're like, you're a piece of shit. You know nothing. Get the fuck out, whatever. And you're like, that doesn't feel very good. So if you can try to avoid it, maybe it's a good thing. Okay, one last one. Let me see.
It's the space between the questions. That's really good.
I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm trying to read. Oh, here's a good one. Kevin, Ariel, we ride with you and for you no matter what, without question, but respectfully, put the glasses back on. Isn't that weird that people are just so used to the glasses?
Fired up.
Weird. Like
I have to admit, like, I've been through that era when you never wore glasses.
Yeah, it was
now
like
the glasses, it felt weird to not see you with glasses, even though I've known you probably longer without the glasses. It's just become your thing.
Okay. James, hola Ariel, it's become my Wednesday tradition to have Taco Bell and watch On the Nose. Do you guys have any food or drinks you usually consume while watching any specific shows or podcasts?
I need to know the order. I want to know the Taco Bell order.
Yo, that's a great.
I'm a cheesy gordita crunch guy.
Oh, shout out.
That's the move.
The goat.
Yeah, dude. The CGC is
so
I love the idea of this guy going out and ordering his Taco Bell and just being like, On the nose,
You
let's
get
go.
the small bag. You go back. There's 8
Of all the things you could do
rappers
to just have a
around you.
nice meal, of all the things you can watch, of all the things you could put on.
Taco Bell is not a nice meal, but it tastes incredible.
Oh, I'd love to have some right now.
I'm a chalupa guy. Do we have any other chalupa guys here on the show?
No
I mean,
shot.
online I got vitriol. I got real hate for being like, chalupa's sneaky best. I mean, a steak supreme chalupa I'm going in on.
I don't even.
Is someone in the background giving you their Taco Bell opinion there, Rick? Was that what you were looking at?
They're playing with the oven.
Grandpa Jackman giving me some love on the chalupas?
Gordita over chalupa for sure. Gordita over
crazy,
chalupa.
Dude. I mean, chalupa is essentially the breading is like a fried gordita.
When's the last time you guys had?
Oh God, it's been
a while.
It's been a year.
I don't even know the last time I had it.
All right, so growing up, I was my parents made me do Boy Scouts, and I would go to Boy Scout camp, and it was like the worst. I absolutely hated it. A week out in the woods, these dingy tents, terrible food, just like subpar. It was just me and my brothers. We every year we looked forward like the opposite of we dreaded it, and what I would do every year when I got back for like 4 or 5 straight years, I would go straight to Taco Bell, couple cheesy gordita crunches, couple chalupas. You'd get the caramel apple empanada. I would spend like $30 on Taco Bell, and it was just the greatest meal of my life. I mean, I just haven't had it in forever, but man, I have fond memories of Taco Bell.
Damn. Have you ever had the one with the chips in it? Isn't there one with like the
Nacho Bel Grande? Nacho Bel Grande.
Nacho Bel Grande. Take me back.
Nacho Bel Grande. Crunchwrap Supreme is a banger.
Crunchwrap Supreme. Maybe a little Mexican pizza if you're feeling, kind of crazy. Hit the nickel machine when you drop the nickel and try to land it on the platform. Burrito. Yeah, the Frito burrito. Tacos. You guys remember they had the volcano tacos for a while? I mean, I used to go in.
Wasn't a fan. Didn't like the sauce. Didn't dig it. I love spicy, but didn't love the sauce.
I loved it.
As soon as this is over, I'm clipping this off and sending it to sales. Like on the nose, sponsored by Taco Bell. Get your Crave box. Yeah. This guy's in front of it. We're starting a revolution.
A real promo here. I don't know if they still have them. It's been years since I've been. The Cinnabon Bite Delights.
Oh, geez.
It was basically just donut holes filled with Cinnabon icing. They would come out hot out the fryer. One of the best things you can put in your mouth. I'm not kidding. It's just simply fantastic.
It's making me so hungry, especially at 5 o'clock.
Sauce? What kind of sauce are you guys? Hot, fire, mild? Yeah, I'm fire for sure. Fire all day. They introduced like the Diablo. Just give me the fire.
Variations of the fire.
Yeah, just give me the fire all day. And you'd always ask for like 100 packets, and you'd use like 3. And then they'd just be sitting in your car.
Those go in the fridge.
Such a deep cut for you.
Yeah, they go in the fridge.
Oh, Taco Bell was like my thing back in the day, man. I mean, it's been years since I've had one. I might have to go get some.
Sounds like it. All right,
Yeah,
well, there you have it.
like
I hope you are enjoying your Taco Bell out there. Last one. Gavin. Okay, it's time to have a real conversation. The Jim Rome Show. The Pat McAfee Show. Dan Le Batard Show, the Rich Eisen Show, the Bill Simmons Podcast. Why isn't it called the Bill Simmons Show, by the way? Or was it called that in the ESPN days?
No, it's called the BS Report in the ESPN days.
It's time to let the cat out of the bag, Gavin says. When do we officially get the Ariel Helwani Show? That's a good question. It's a very good question, Gavin. And to that I say, stay tuned. Who, me? Yes.
Damn,
Perfect.
Misread that one.
No, you killed it. Thank you to everyone for the questions. Thank you to everyone for the Substack love. I appreciate you all very much. Thank you very much to BetterHelp. Thank you very much to DraftKings. It is time to go. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You could get many more of these videos on the channel, so please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.